Well, welcome parents to back to school night. I'm doing something just a little bit different. Tonight I'm going to show you this video, and here's why I'm doing this. I want you to see what it looks like for your child to be in my classroom, and I make these videos for them actually quite a lot. I do it for two reasons. One is because sometimes I can give them notes to do at home, and with their devices, they have the ability to be able to take notes at home, and then we can come to class and we can work on those notes, or we can revise anything that needs revision. But also, if they're ever doing something like this in class, then I get to have one-on-one time with my students because everybody else is watching the video, taking some notes, listening to my instructions while I get to have one-on-one time with the students. And I want this to be a time for you this evening where I get to have one-on-one time with you while other people are watching the video. If at any time you want to pull me over and ask me a question, then you can do that as well. So I'm going to get started with what your child is going to be learning in 8th grade science. This year we are rolling out the new NGSS, Next Generation Science Standards curriculum. Your child in 8th grade science will be learning the units of space science, forces and energy, waves and electromagnetism, and at the end of the year we're going to be covering Earth history. A typical day in my class looks like students coming in, answering some warm-up questions in their science notebook, and me checking their planners. They write their homework down every day. And as you can see on the whiteboard that's behind me and in the front of the class, I write the homework down daily, and students write it down in their planners, and I check to make sure that they've done it. We also have our curriculum, or everything that we're doing in science class, is driven by an essential question, something that's driving what we're doing, an answer that we have to get to. Many of our lessons look like students working together in cooperative teams. We do lots of labs. We take AVID or Cornell-style notes since we are an AVID demonstration school, which is a great way for students to learn how to focus their notes and be able to process what they're learning, because they can process it better if they can also write it down. And then a lot of our lessons are an extension of the previous night's homework. Like I said before, there will be a lot of times where students go home and they watch a video or that looks like something like this, or they take some notes, or they answer a few questions. And then what we do in class is we get to talk about it in class. This is kind of a change from maybe the traditional style of teaching, where a teacher teaches and then a student goes home and practices or whatever the teaching was that day. The problem with that is, if a student didn't understand what was going on in class, how can they go home and practice it? So I like to do what's called a flipped classroom, where the students do some learning at home, and then they come to class and I get to check for their understanding, I get to answer questions that they might have had, and through videos like this, I get to have a little bit more one-on-one time with the students as well. This is how your child is graded in my class. They're graded on tests, quizzes, and projects, the biggest part of their grade. Their science notebook, which you may have already seen, is a composition book that looks like this. And then they also have other classwork and homework, including a current event article that they need to read, something current that's happening in science just once a month. And I grade their notebooks every single Friday, as well as the students having a test or a quiz almost every Friday. Now, to help prepare for those quizzes, the students are given like a little mini study guide on Thursday nights. It's called All the Essential Questions that we've been working on for the week. And then that assignment on Thursdays helps prepare them for the quiz on Fridays. Students have an average of 20 minutes of homework every night. And if your child is spending more than 20 minutes, sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes it's a little bit less. Typically, it's kind of an extension of, if you didn't get it finished in class, go ahead and finish it at home. But if they're spending more than 20 minutes on their homework a night, please contact me, because it shouldn't be that long. I also, though, accept late work for full credit for up to 2 weeks. If a student comes to after-school tutoring, and I can ask them some questions about the assignment, because I want to make sure that they learned from it, then they can get full credit for that assignment if they can answer my questions. After 2 weeks, then any assignment that has not been made up during after-school tutoring, a student can still make up the points by doing what's called an alternative assignment. It's a different assignment that will make up for those points. And if you need to see, or if you want to see what the tutoring schedule looks like, it's also in page 6 of your student notebook. And how do you know what homework your child has? Because they're moving through all these different classes all throughout the day. Here's how you can check your student homework daily for my class. You can check their planners because I make them write down their homework in their planner. And then the next day when I check their planner, if the assignment has been incomplete, I draw a red circle around it. So if you're looking through your child's planner and you're seeing red circle, red circle, red circle, that's going to give you a really good indication that they're not getting their assignments completed. If they do complete the assignment, then in their notebook on the page, I actually sign the page. Once they get my signature on the page, they've gotten full credit for that page in their science notebook. And then, like I said before, then I grade all of those pages. It goes into my computer in my grade book every Friday. Another way that you can check student work is by checking the Haiku page or asking your child to check the Haiku page. Even if they're absent for a day, they can always go to my Haiku page and check classwork and homework to see what they're missing for that day or what they might need. Here's a quick view of what my science Haiku page looks like. Here's the classwork and homework, the table of contents for what they're going to be graded on for that week. Here is the code for your child to get on Google Classroom, which I use sometimes as well. And again, some information about my class, including the tutoring schedule. Here's a tutoring schedule as well. There's tutoring Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and your child can go to any teacher in order to get their work signed off for my class. And here's the last thing. I always appreciate donations in my class. I can even give community service for your child in their history class. I can give up to 5 hours of community service for students that bring in donated items for the classroom, up to 5 hours depending on how much they bring in. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming today. Please let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a great evening.